If you go to a police station, you might often just talk to a police officer and make an initial complaint. So you might say, I was abused 2 years ago by somebody and I want to talk to someone about making a statement. Now, they might ask you some details, but what they mean is they will just say to you, I want to know who it was, what year it was, where it was. You don't have to tell them everything at that point. You don't have to go into detail. Somebody, somewhere, will want a proper statement. And when they do, that will be you sat down with a couple of police officers with pen and paper and recording, maybe video, maybe audio, but that will be done properly. And they will ask you the questions that they need answers to. So you don't even, the initial one, you don't have to go into a police station and go blah, 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 and tell them everything. You know, that's just not necessary.
And what I did is I got someone else to phone the police station and make the appointment for me in the first place. And that was a trusted friend who I'd already disclosed to and knew me well and was familiar and comfortable with talking to people in authority, with talking to the police in general, and was comfortable about speaking on someone else's behalf about such a sensitive issue. And that I would advise, if you can, find someone that's a good friend that knows you and that you cares about you and you trust to make that initial step for you, to make the appointment for you.
It's just so not something you have to do on your own. So you don't have to be the bravest person in the world and walk into a totally horrible place and tell a total stranger. So always have somebody with you who you've spoken to, if you can, and who understands. And just a friend, even if you just have to go to a friend and go, look, I've got to go to the police and talk about something and it's not very nice, but at least can you get me to the door? Or inside the door maybe, then you can't, and then hold the door so I can't run away. But when you're talking to somebody, you're allowed to ask to see child protection, please, even if you're older and outside their age, because you're going to get a police officer who's trained and understands the subject. Ask for a private room. Ask to speak to a woman if you don't want to speak to a man, or vice versa.
So as part of the process, I had to report disclose to the police. I found it. I thought before I actually did it, it was truly terrifying. With Sarah's backup, I made it to the police station at Wimbledon, and I discovered they had a non-urgent crime reporting box. So I thought, what a wonderful place, and I'm sure, because I thought, I'm sure this isn't a matter of absolute desperate urgency for this minute, and if I just quickly write it down and put my phone number and contact details in, I can leave in a matter of minutes, and we can deal with it another day. Which I did. And a couple of days later, I got a phone call. It was an email or a phone call just to acknowledge receipt. And because of the gravity of what I was reporting, it was arranged to have someone from the Juvenile Protection Unit contact me. And so we were in touch for quite some time, over a number of times by phone. And face-to-face meetings. The police response was far and away, far more understanding, proactive and thoughtful and caring than I ever thought possible.
If you have any issues around law and order, around the fact that you've been previously mistreated by the legal system, or you felt let down by the fact that the legal system or so-called society's protection for you as a child or as a person didn't take place, and the police are always involved in that, aren't they? What did you do to stop this happening? You're going to the very same people and saying, right, what are we going to do now? Are you people, and what I found was the people that from the Child Protection Unit were absolutely brilliant. They were on my side. And for me, it was very hard to work with them initially because I was mistrustful of them. And then eventually I became trustful. I just said, it's okay. They're on my side. They actually believe what I'm telling them.
If you've never talked about it before with someone, then that's going to be scary. If you've never said the words out loud. My advice is always go and talk to police officers. They understand the subject. Don't be frightened of language. Don't be frightened of saying the things exactly how you want to say it. They're not going to tell you off because you've just used a swear word or a rude word. They understand. They'll cope with it. It's not a problem. But never lie. Never exaggerate. Never for effect try and make out that it was worse than it was, because it'll catch you out later. Just tell the absolute truth, you know, and leave them to do their job. If you're a survivor, a lot of the reactions and feelings you have to this situation, discussion, is the feelings and reactions you're going to have that you had as a child. So the idea of telling someone is frightening, and the idea of telling somebody in authority is even more frightening, and somebody in the police, that's just dead scary. But you have to remember as well that if you're talking to a child protection officer, they hear this stuff every day. Sadly, unfortunately, this is what they hear all the time. So they understand the subject, they understand how you're feeling, they understand what it is that you've got to say to them.